Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Tyler. Welcome back to the Tyler Williams channel. Welcome to a very late night live stream. This is one of the only times you're going to be seeing me live stream at like midnight, but as I said, I will be reviewing episodes of Raw, Smackdown, and NXT for the entire month of January leading up to the Royal Rumble. I'm sticking to that promise, even though, you know, it's late at night. I just got home from work not too long ago, and I'm like, I'm going to go home, I'm going to do this review, then I'm going to probably hit the hay. You know, get ready for tomorrow and live stream some more, and then get ready to go to sleep and wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning and live stream New Japan. But nonetheless, I'm here with my partner in crime, who's also contributed some to the Tyler Williams channel, Health Sample Prodigy, and you can catch him on the Silent 4 channel, which is basically my secondary wrestling channel for me, himself, friends Alejandro Franklin Zamora. I'm here with Dane. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Now you watched all of SmackDown. I was at work. I heard it as background noise, and I watched the clips on YouTube. So you know a little bit more than me. I don't know exactly how the show started, but I kind of know what happened. But you could guide me through the motions of the show, and I'll put my emphasis on it because I do know what happened. I just don't know which order in which stuff happened.
Well, AJ Styles came out. Obviously, he was really pissed about last week. He feels that Shane kind of had something to do with his loss. He feel like Shane shouldn't have been butting in so much because I think he's kind of like he doesn't really agree with Daniel Bryan's kind of approaches that he's done lately either. But he kind of feels that Shane cost him that match, and Shane and Daniel both came out. He felt like he needed to apologize to AJ, which he did. And later on, Shane wanted himself at ringside because he knew Kevin Owens was going to be at ringside. And Daniel Bryan says, okay, if you want to be at ringside, maybe I could be at ringside as well.
I feel like we're doing this whole storyline where Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon are involved in the main storyline. It's like, it's cool and all, we're building dissension between them, but it's like, do you really have to shut off the show every single week with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon? It's getting kind of repetitive. Like, I get it's the main storyline, you know, you have Shane and Daniel Bryan, dissension between them, could possibly lead into a match, but there's nothing confirmed because Daniel Bryan isn't being cleared anytime soon. But every week, do we have to start off with a promo from Shane McMahon or a promo from Daniel Bryan, and then one or the other comes out, and then they're subtly talking shit about the other one, but they're trying to keep it professional. And then I just feel like, come on, we do this every single week. Can we just open 2018 with AJ Styles, be like, this is my WWE Championship League Open Challenge or something? I don't know. How do you feel about that? I just feel like it's kind of overdone concept, opening the show with those two every single week.
I don't think it's going to last that much longer, honestly. I feel like it's kind of hitting its end point. At least I hope so. I'm not too bothered with it yet. I think if it continues, it probably will bother me a lot more than right now. It does kind of have a payoff in the later, like at the ending of the show, so I feel like it's at least somewhat necessary if that's what they're gonna go with for their story.
Yeah, true. I just feel like, you know, this has been the way SmackDown's been opening for the better part of 2 months now. It's getting to, I don't know if it's going to stop at WrestleMania when a match happens or what, but at some point it's like, let's open the show with something else.
It could end after the Rumble, honestly.
No, you know, you and I both know this feud's going longer than the Rumble. We all know this feud between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, at least. I don't know if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to be part of it, but it's nice how they're kind of weaving AJ Styles into it, even though I feel like now Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan are kind of weaved into the WWE Championship picture, and it's like, oh my god, now we have them in the... It's like now they're overarching other storylines. It's like, come on now.
Well, I've heard speculations of people saying that they think Daniel Bryan's going to move to the other show, so he's going to move to Raw or something.
Wait, Daniel Bryan's moving to Raw or Shane's moving to Raw?
Well, Shane wouldn't make sense because that's basically his show. Daniel Bryan's
why would
the other.
But Daniel Bryan moving to Raw wouldn't make sense either because Daniel Bryan hates Stephanie McMahon. I'm not gonna.
That's true, but
how should we forget about the War?
We're also seeing.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead.
Come on.
No,
I think we're also seeing character changes from him though as well.
We are, but I feel like, they do this thing where a character changes, a character turns heel, and then all of a sudden, because he's heel, he has to be friends with all the other heels. Like, just because Daniel Bryan's turning heel doesn't mean he has to be buddy-buddy with every single bad guy on the show. Like, I'm not expecting Daniel Bryan to go to Raw and start shaking hands with Stephanie. It's like, Stephanie was slapping the shit out of him 3 years ago. I'm not forgetting about that, and they shouldn't expect the fans to forget about that, because that was a key driving factor in 2013, 2014. Like, I can't just imagine this picture unless Daniel Bryan aligns himself with the Authority, which would just be like mind blowing. But unless he aligns himself with the Authority, Triple H, and now that I'm saying in my head, I could totally see this scenario where Daniel Bryan hops over to Raw, aligns himself with Triple H and Stephanie, starts saying everything's best for business, starts wearing a suit, and it starts this like Shane McMahon versus the Authority. I could totally see that happening now that I just said it out loud. But nonetheless, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like this is on SmackDown.
Think about it that way. Triple H actually started out very anti-Authority as well, and then he ended up joining the corporation.
Like I said, I would, after I just set this scenario in my head, I'm like, yeah, I could totally see this happening now. But anyway, in any other event, we continue on, though. What else happened?
Usos faced off against Shelton and Chad for the tag team champions.
Should have been a Rusev Day.
Yeah, should have. The Usos give kind of a little bit of promo, basically letting them know, I don't know. They're basically just kind of taunting them before the match. They kept repeating a certain phrase. I don't think I wrote it down, but they kept shouting and repeating a certain phrase over and over again.
Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary. That's probably what they said.
No, I think it was like, let them know, or something stupid like that. I don't really know exactly what it was.
I don't know, but the Usos have a pretty good way of getting their crowd hyped, so
they got it hyped. I just don't think they said anything of crazy substance, but it was an entertaining little bit, to say the least. Shelton and Chad made to look strong in the early match. Chad Gable gets the pin off the top rope because basically Chad Gable, he tagged in Shelton Benjamin, and then they do like this double team move that they do where Chad Gable lands on top of them. He pins them. You think they won the tag team belt until a referee comes out and says, no, he wasn't the legal man, watch the footage, and they do some like NFL type shit.
That was crazy. I was literally at work listening to it going on. I'm not paying too much attention. I'm like, obviously it's a great match because it's the Usos, Chad Gable, and Shelton Benjamin. I'm not really paying that much attention. I'm walking around, I'm doing whatever. Next thing I know, I hear a ding, 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 and I'm like, oh, Usos retained. That's pretty quick. But I'm like, and new tag. I'm like, what? Excuse me?
Oh no!
The fuck
dude,
happened? I was like, hold on, rewind.
Like, flipping out too. I was like, they didn't really just do that, did they?
I'm like, hold on, we just did it on Smackdown for fuck all. Like, what? And then I'm like, wait, hold on. And then I turn it on, and I'm like, oh my god, they really just took the titles off of them and put it on Chad. I had nothing wrong with Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, but it's like, if you want to put the titles on them, you should have put the title on them months ago. Putting it on them now, especially when there's a tag team that's way more over than both of these tag teams combined, it's like, why? Unless the end result is we're going to put Rusev Day up against Chad Gable, Jason, and Shelton Benjamin at, Royal Rumble, that would be the end game. Would be like, what? Why would be the end game of that? So the match ended up getting restarted. I didn't watch the second half of the match, but I'm going to assume it's good, and, Usos retain.
Usos did retain. They
but
did
that
a lot
scared
of
me.
Super kicks and the splash. Yeah, I think it scared a lot of people, and I think it was cool for what it was. I hope it doesn't become a regular thing where the referee comes out and then they do this, like, NFL-style review thing.
Oh, no, but I think it is pretty cool because they don't do it often, so when it does happen, it's like, oh, okay. Threw everyone for a loop. Now, if it becomes like, every other week, then it's like, come on now. But, keep it to like a bare minimum. Every so often you do this false finish, and then you have two referees come out and they're watching it. Because I think the last time they did that was like 2016 or early last year, but they haven't done that in a long time, so that's okay. That's fine. I like it. I like it.
I thought it was interesting. I like I said, I hope it doesn't become a regular thing, but for what it was a great way to start off the show because it got people. Usually, people are kind of like they kind of like fall asleep during matches a little bit because there's nothing really interesting happen, nothing
Yeah.
very compelling, and so when they throw a loop like that, sometimes it gets you engaged because you're like they really didn't just slap them with the tag team titles, and then they're
Yeah, for
like
no
yeah,
reason.
and then for like a second later they're like yeah we didn't.
Yeah, I know. I loved it.
So the next thing was Breezango versus the Bludgeon Brothers.
Ooh, the Brazon. I mean, didn't this match happen at Clash of Champions? And oh yeah,
It did.
wasn't it like not a decisive finish, or it was a squash match? Or
It
I
was a
forgot.
squash match at Night of Champions. They got a rematch last week, and the Ascension ended up interrupting it and getting them disqualified. And then the Ascension was like, "Oh, we got you another rematch against them. It's a great gift, guys. You're gonna beat them. You're gonna feel really great about yourselves again." That didn't happen. What happened was it started out with a very brutal attack before the bell even rang. The Bludgeon Brothers were in control. The Ascension ended up coming out to try to help, and they're laid out themselves. And just the match is completely called off at that point. The referee doesn't really call it off. The bell never rang at all, so they just kind of were like, yeah, they just played the Bludgeon Brothers music, and they were standing tall at the end. There was no real match, so I don't really know what to say about that. It just seemed kind of rushed.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there either. I like what they're doing with the Bludgeon Brothers right now. You know, they're keeping them strong as this dominant tag team. Right now, I feel like the end game should be a triple threat tag team match WrestleMania. It should be the Usos versus the Bludgeon Brothers versus Rusev Day for the tag team championships. Now, who goes over in that match? Totally up to them. I would say it'd be Rusev Day, but I think we should be building up to that triple threat tag team match. Now, how we get there? Many ways to get there, but I think that's what we should be building up to. Keep the Bludgeon Brothers undefeated up until that point. Keep Rusev Day. Keep their act entertaining. They don't have to win every single week, but keep them looking good, keep them funny, and keep them over as possible. So that when they go into that match, and everything's like everyone's like, yeah, Rusev Day, and Usos go in as the heels, and Bludgeon Brothers are kind of the wild card in that situation. So I don't know. I just feel like it'd be an interesting match, especially because all three tag teams.
I think they're building for a match against the Ascension right now, the Bludgeon Brothers.
But no one could believe the Ascension would beat them. It's like the Ascensions are jokes. I wouldn't believe that the Ascension would beat them.
That's true, but I still think that's what they're building to, at least at this point in time. Maybe they could be doing something bigger with the Bludgeon Brothers at WrestleMania or even after or something. But right now, I think the goal is to just get them in a match with the Ascension and try to make that somewhat decent.
Yeah. But anyways, what happened next?
They do like this weird New Day thing where Xavier thinks he got a piñata, but they're like, dude, it's not a piñata. And then he's like, is it Golden Girls on DVD? And they're like, nope. And then he makes the correct guess of it being like a 2018 cake with a candle somehow. And they're like, you could see through that, can't you? And he's like, yeah, I can. And then that's when they start talking about becoming. Apparently they're all going to be U.S. champion. Xavier thinks. He's like, I'm going to win the U.S. champion. We're going to beat everybody. The New Day is going to hold the U.S. title. Yeah. And then that's when Aiden English and Rusev come. Rusev is like really angry, and English says he's going to beat him. And English says, your wish should have been that every day is Rusev Day. And Rusev's like, you guys are a bunch of children. Then he blows out Xavier's candle.
Boo. But the crowd probably cheered. I don't know. Did the crowd like it, or were they indifferent, or?
I think a lot of people are going New Day on this one.
Interesting.
It seemed like New Day was getting a lot of hype, even though they didn't really do anything new this week besides that segment. That segment was kind of interesting. It seemed like it was somewhat different than what they've been doing, but when they came out, they started doing the pancake thing and the Bootios thing like they always do. So. A little bit of a formula they got going now which I think is an issue. I think they need to start doing
A little
new and
too
inventive
a
things.
little too formulaic. I see your point. But the New Day's been going on for like years now, so it's kind of hard for them to come up with new innovative things to do when they've had the set going since 2014. Now, 4 years they've been together. So the question lies: is there an end of the road coming? How long could WWE keep them together while keeping them fresh and new? The crowds aren't souring on them. The crowd still loves the New Day. The New Day is all of them are great wrestlers, but the question is, are they going to, by the end of the year, will the New Day still be together? If I had to make a prediction, I think sometime this year we're going to see a breakup between the New Day. I'm calling it right now. I don't know when. My early guess is SummerSlam. Maybe we'll see a triple threat. But I'm thinking we're going to see a breakup between the New Day at some point in time. I think
could see that.
the seeds were already planted here with Xavier Woods being a single star in his match, even though he's like, yeah, it's going to be us. They're like, yeah. I mean, it's not like they're incapable of being single stars. A Big E, he's been a single star before. He's a former U.S. and Intercontinental champion, so they see something in him. Kofi Kingston, he's been all around WWE, so he has capabilities. Xavier Woods kind of the one that's least accomplished out of all of them, but he's entertaining act. He's an entertaining act, so he's capable of doing it. It's just a matter of if will they let him break out of his shell. But I think they're all capable of being single stars. They just keep them together because they work so well and they sell so much merchandise. But it is becoming a little bit tedious and a bit of an old act. So at some point they're going to have to break up and do their own thing again. But we'll reach that road when we reach it. What happened next?
Okay, so Mojo says he's going to take out Ryder next week, and he's going to advance in the U.S. tournament.
Oh, they didn't do that match this week?
No, not yet. They're kind of hyping it up. Mojo says that he's going to take him back to the past where he belongs, kind of like as a jobber, essentially. He didn't really say that, but that's essentially what he was hinting at, and he was doing the little woo-woo thing at him. Then Rusev comes out, and him and English are together, and we think English is going to sing the Rusev Day song. Rusev's like, no, I got it this week. And then he sings a song for English, talking about how English is going to be the U.S. champ, and he's going to represent Rusev Day really well. The match starts. English is in control early on. Xavier shows remarkable speed. Like, his pacing has gotten a lot better. I wasn't always behind the way Xavier worked as a single star before. Something about it just seemed kind of off with the pacing and stuff, but he seemed he had a lot of energy tonight. He was really, really working this match. This was probably like one of my favorite matches of the night, if not like my favorite. But English quickly back in control, slick backbreaker from Xavier, but only a near fall, back and forth. Xavier walks on the rope and gives a great elbow drop, and Xavier advances from there. Like he pins him. He does this like thing where he got on to the kind of like the top rope, and then he walked across it and then did an elbow drop.
Oh yeah, he's done that before. I always think that's pretty impressive. Like,
he
just walks along.
It was good. It honestly might like become his finisher or something, because it worked really well as like a finisher tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's done it before, and it really doesn't finish off matches that well because usually when there's a tag team match, it's always Big E and Kofi. But they're starting to put Xavier Woods in that kind of a tag team role now. I feel like they're starting to do Big E and Xavier now, which is fine. But good for Xavier that they're starting to utilize him a bit more as a wrestler, not as a manager.
I think he's improved as a wrestler. I mean, there are a lot of people that would say, "Oh, he's always been good," but to me, he's always been the weakest in-ring worker.
Arguable, yeah.
It's arguable. It definitely is, but to me, that's how he's always been. And this match definitely showed me otherwise, that he can definitely pull off a singles run. Like, him and Aiden English had really good chemistry. I want to see them fight off again, because I really think this was a really, really good match. It's solid. And I'm not going to hype it up and say it's going to, everyone's going to remember this till the end of time or anything, but it's a good match for what it was.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna face off against Jinder Mahal in the next match. What do you think of that?
I mean, I know it's kind of predictable that the final round is most likely going to be Jinder versus freaking not Mojo, but the guy who's going to be facing Mojo.
Zack Ryder?
No, Mojo's going to beat him. I'm talking about who's facing Mojo in the semifinals.
I don't remember.
It's going to be Jinder in the final round, and Jinder's probably going to win the U.S. Championship, which I'm not really. That's cool. I mean, I'd rather see Jinder as U.S. champion than Jinder as WWE champion, so that's cool and all, but, you know, I feel like it's just going to be the end of the game.
I think Xavier would be a good champion, and I think that's why a lot of people are behind him at this point in time. English would have been great to advance as well. I really like English as well.
You know, they could start planting the seeds. If the New Day tries to interfere in a match and they accidentally cost Xavier Woods the match, I could see that happening.
That could work.
I could see it happening.
Might be a little early in the year, but I could see it.
Well, if you start playing them now, but you do the slow burn. You don't gotta do it like at WrestleMania. Just do a slow burn throughout most of the year, and then it culminates at, like, I don't know, the day after WrestleMania or something, and then it leads to a triple threat at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But anyways,
next was the Welcome Committee. They cut a promo. Natty's acting as the leader, as she kind of was before. They kind of vanished randomly. I don't really know what happened with them before. I don't really remember.
I mean, the welcoming committee, is it Carmella, Tamina, and Natalia? Yeah, I mean, it was just a group, nothing more.
So. You forgot Lana.
Oh yeah, Lana. I keep on forgetting Lana's there.
Yeah, Lana's in there as well.
They need to have Lana wrestle more. I keep on forgetting she. I mean, I know Lana's a bad wrestler, but they need to have her wrestle a little bit more, especially if she can't. Especially if she can wrestle. She was.
I don't think she fought, though. I don't think she was.
No, I mean, they have to have her wrestle more. Like, I know she's a bad wrestler, but if you have a wrestler, use her. They could use, like, Lana on the SmackDown's roster.
Yeah, so
diversity.
Natty and Liv had well, the match started, obviously. They had some lockups. Liv Morgan was actually really impressive tonight. She was playing a very, like, cocky kind of character. And
really,
the lockups...
she's playing a cocky character. You know, a lot of the cockiness that comes from Liv Morgan is so unbelievable because she just looks so... I feel like I just want to pinch her cheeks every time I see her.
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of, like, older... How I kind of looked at Carmella before. I don't know, really... I don't really know what changed, but... For whatever reason, I don't see her as cocky as she used to be.
Well, no, I could never see myself, like, pinching Carmella's cheeks. But Liv Morgan, she has this, like, really blonde hair. She's, like, a small figure. She's
like, really flexible. She like, stretched back.
Oh, yeah,
kind of like a Matrix type thing.
Oh, yeah, I bet Tyler Bate really is into that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, I bet he is. I would hate on him. I can't hate on him.
She stops the sharpshooter because, like, Natalia tries to lock that in. Liv Morgan stops it. Ruby's tagged in. Ruby tossed into the corner as Natty tags in Carmella. Sarah Logan comes in and gets control as she's tagged in. Tamina starts looking strong as she's tagged in to face off against Logan. The Riot Squad wins with Liv Morgan pushing Tamina off the top rope because she was going for, like, her finishing move where she does the little snooker thing where she jumps off the rope. And I guess the ref was distracted by Ruby or something at the moment. And they ended up winning, and Ruby did this really childish fucking promo where she was, like, talking about magic and how everybody there believes in magic probably, and how they're all phonies and pretenders.
Oh, I must say.
Miserable. It was the childish promo.
I must say, the finish of the match, I don't know if this was Sarah Logan's idea or her trainer's idea or a writer's idea, but whoever came up with the disaster that was Sarah Logan's finisher has to be reevaluated, because her let me do a half-ass cartwheel and then have my knees fall on her back, that was the dumbest fucking finisher I think I've ever seen. They need to change that immediately. That could not be finishing off matches. I was just sitting there like, wait, that's the finish? They gotta change that. That could not be her finisher. No. Mm-mm. I don't care if it's gotta be a DDT, because everyone on the show does a DDT now. But they gotta change that. I don't know how you feel about it, but I thought it was a stupid finish.
I wasn't paying too much attention to the finish, honestly. That was just me. I wasn't really too into this match as I was in the previous match. The previous match I think was way better. I don't know why they put this lower on the card and closer to the main event. Maybe it's because it's a women's match, and they're doing it's a women's revolution. And there's more people in this match. It's got
women here. Let's cool the crowd down with some women.
Yeah, I don't know. It just was not a match I was excited to see.
My question is, they're doing this 30 women's Royal Rumble. So what is Charlotte and Alexa Bliss going to be doing? If everyone from SmackDown, everyone from Raw is going to be in a Rumble match, what is Charlotte and Alexa Bliss going to be doing?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
I mean, it's got to suck for them, because it's like they don't have anyone to face. So
they're probably getting a paycheck anyway.
Yeah, but still, like, they want to... I can imagine they want to be in the first ever Women's Rumble match, but they're the champions. And they don't have anyone to face on their card because everyone's in a Rumble match, so it's like they're left with nothing to do right now, and that's kind of sad. So hopefully they could do the stipulation where, like, oh, both champions are in, but if the champions win, they can, like, challenge the other champion for a unification match or something. I don't know. I feel like they could try to weave Charlotte and Alexa Bliss in there somehow. But
I don't know.
As of right now,
seems corny. I think the women's match, the women's rumble, is just at this moment in time, it's kind of a mess, and we have to see if it works or if it doesn't work. It's kind of like a testing.
It's an experiment. It's an experimental
process. Yeah, it's a test. Mm-hmm. And then so obviously this was kind of obvious. The rest of the Riot Squad is like, oh, we're gonna be in the Rumble match too.
You don't have to announce your place because every woman and her mom is going to be in a Rumble. If it's
yeah. But they thought it was a great little like time to announce it, even though it was kind of obvious.
Exactly.
They were going to be in it. And then they were about to do something else, and then that's when Charlotte came out and interrupted them and said that she was a dreamer and she believed in magic like all these other people, and how the kind of corny like dreams do come true thing. But the way Charlotte said it didn't sound as childish as when they said it. So I could at least give her credit where credit was due. At least she didn't come off like talking like she was a little kid. Because I don't know where the hell all that crap came from. But so yeah, she basically says, also you want to know about reality, because they were talking about reality as well. She's like, the reality is you have consequences to your actions, and that's when Naomi and Becky Lynch came out and they ended up attacking the Riot Squad, and Lynch like laid them out. Like that's when they retreated after Lynch just laid them out in the ring. It started out as like a brawl, but then she was doing that like, what is that move that she does? What do they call it? Where she like throws them over? No, it's like I think they combine her name with it, and she like throws them over.
The Bexplex?
Yeah, I think it's that.
I think it's the Bexplex.
Something like that. She did that move to two of them, and that's when they decided to retreat. And then cuts to Baron Corbin doing a little promo being like, oh, I can't wait to win the Rumble this year, blah, 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 blah. That's why I'm officially in the Rumble. And he's like shouting. Like he's really, really, really into this promo. Like it's probably the most personality I've ever seen him have, surprisingly. Oh, but it was such a short promo, though. It's like, yeah, if you could do this, but in much more doses for a longer period of time, I'd like to see that, because usually your promos fucking suck. That's just my opinion.
Hopefully he's on the right track this year, because he was on the right track last year, But then I don't know what happened. I guess he made a comment about some official in the back, and then he lost the Money in the Bank, and then all of his momentum got lost after that. Lost to John Cena SummerSlam, so he has to regain a lot of the momentum back. He has to build back a lot of that momentum he used to have. So it's gonna be a long road for Baron Corbin, but hopefully they can build it back up in 2018.
Commercial announces that Miz is going to be returning next Monday on Raw.
That doesn't matter. It's SmackDown. I don't know why we had that announcement on SmackDown, but hey.
It wasn't on SmackDown. It was like kind of like one of those commercials that they have
Okay.
on USA Network where they're like, "Oh, tune in to Raw next week because," and they were calling him like they're like the Rolling Stones calls him Superstar of the Year. Miz returns.
I mean,
As if I really
they didn't have to slam me, so I guess they have to go for that.
as if I really care what Rolling Stone magazine thinks of wrestling. But okay, if they want me to care, cool. I don't really give a fuck, honestly. Like Miz. What?
Oh, no, I like Miz too, but, whatever.
Just want me to continue? Okay.
And then on to the main event. No, we just 30 minutes, I don't want to go on too long.
Yeah, okay. AJ Styles with a quick clothesline as the bell rings. Quick kickouts from both men. Let me skip forward a little bit. Owen and Shane start shouting at each other from the outside. Bryan tries to keep the peace between them. Sammy with a near fall, gutbuster and a neck breaker from AJ as he gets a near fall. Zayn reverses a Styles clash and does a blue thunder bomb, which I thought that was it, but apparently it wasn't. It was just near fall. Calf crusher, where he does the calf crusher and then he rolls over to try to get away from the ropes. But Zayn gets the bottom rope anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Zayn avoids the phenomenal forearm, but Styles gets control as the ref is tossed out of the ring. And that's when Owens blocks him from getting back in the ring. He kind of like moves in his way while he's trying to pin Sami Zayn in the ring. And that's when the ref gets in after a while and he only gets a 2 count. And that's when Shane tries to get involved and he's like, okay, it's time to leave. You're not going to be here, Kevin. Like, it's time to leave. And that's when Bryan grabs the mic. He's like, if you're going to reject him, why don't you reject yourself as well? Because he ended up attacking Owens after that. He like hit him and stuff. So he's like, you should get out as well, Shane. You don't need to be here. And as Shane's being told to leave, Owens kind of gets up on the side of the ring apron, and that's when AJ attacks him, and then Zayn ends up hitting him with a kick towards the rope, and that's when he pins him and he gets the win over AJ Styles.
Interesting stuff, but
there's one more thing. This is kind of the payoff to the beginning. AJ asks, why doesn't he just get a handicap match? I don't want anybody involved. I'll just take them both on. Daniel Bryan says, yeah, sure. Rumble, both of them are going to fight you for the world title.
And everyone's like, oh my god, Daniel Bryan finally turns heel, and it's like...
No, everybody was chanting yes!
I know. People were excited, and then I'm like... Then there's some people like, oh my god, he finally turned heel, I don't like... And it's like... I don't think it's a heel turn, honestly. I think it's kind of a really it's a perspective thing, honestly. I mean, from the perspective I'm looking at it as, Shane McMahon is kind of the bully here. He's kind of bullying Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and Daniel Bryan is sticking up for them. And AJ Styles just so happens to be on the side of Shane McMahon because he has more respect for him.
Would you say that Daniel Bryan is a tweener?
No, I would not. I think Daniel Bryan is kind of... He's the baby face, but he's playing... I feel like he's the babyface in this situation, and they're trying to portray him as the heel. But if you look at it, really the only heel in this situation is Shane McMahon, because he's really just bullying Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who are heels, mind you. But you go and bully around people, that makes you look like the heel, doesn't it? I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like Shane is the heel and Daniel Bryan is the babyface, but Daniel Bryan just so happened to put babyface AJ Styles in a situation where he could be basically lose his title. So that's the only caveat there. But other than that, I don't think Daniel Bryan is really the heel. I think he's the babyface, honestly, in this situation.
I think to a degree, I agree.
What would be that degree?
What?
What would be the degree?
Oh no, I don't think he's completely in the right, Daniel Bryan, especially making matches like this where it's obviously a biased match. Even though AJ asked for it, I feel like it is a very biased match towards him. He's probably going to lose if Shane McMahon doesn't get involved,
He probably
which
will.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure Shane will. Shane's not going to let AJ Styles get beat up by two people in like some big thing like that. He's especially not at the Rumble.
Yeah, no, he's just
Shane
gonna help
doesn't want
himself.
those. Shane doesn't want any of those two to be close to that title. So I think he's definitely going to interfere and play a role in it. I don't know what Daniel Bryan's going to do at the Rumble. That's kind of up in the air for me at this moment. I'm like, is he going to take a bump, even just a little bit, or is WWE just going to be like, he can't take any bumps? You know, if I tap him the wrong way, he's going to like implode into pieces.
He's gonna break every bone in his body and then go home and kill his family or something. I don't know. But anyways,
Probably. Anyway, it was a good SmackDown. I definitely think that the highlight of the night was Xavier versus English, and if you check out that match, recommend it.
I
Pretty
need to
good.
check it out. It sounds like a pretty between good and decent SmackDown Live. I'm gonna have to check out. Thank you guys for watching this review. If you guys have not already, subscribe to the Tyler Williams channel. Then go subscribe to the Sonic 4 channel. We will be streaming New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 12 here on the Tyler Williams channel at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. So if you do not have access to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I know a lot of you don't know how to do it, a lot of you don't know how to watch it, come over here and watch us watch it the show, because of course, like always, I'm not going to show you the screen because I'm not trying to get copyright. I don't know if New Japan has the same copyrights that WWE has. They probably are protected. It's what I think Access would probably be the ones that will give me the copyright and not WWE, but nonetheless I wouldn't show the screen. I would just give you guys live coverage. So yeah, first ever live stream is going to be early, butt ass early in the morning. Hope to see you all there, as well as before that, there will be a review for NXT, which is tomorrow at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or something around those lines. So, make sure you guys tune into all those. I love you guys as always, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.